In the Ethereum update today, Ethereum recovers from this dip down towards the $2,300 level, all the way back up to $2,600 level. But as you can see from this pattern, we're still not out of the woods yet. Will Ethereum be able to gain some strength and recover back to the upside, or are we just looming on a bigger drop to the downside? Hello guys, and welcome to the House of Crypto. In today's video, we're going to look at the latest Ethereum news as well as Ethereum and Bitcoin charts to see exactly what is happening in the crypto markets, as well as comparing Ethereum versus Bitcoin, which has actually seen a bit of a shift in terms of the pair's behavior today. Hello guys, and welcome to the House of Crypto. I make videos about Ethereum as well as other cryptocurrencies. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of the latest Ethereum news as well as Bitcoin news, Ethereum chart analysis. Without further ado then, let's jump into the first piece of Ethereum news for today. Okay, so obviously we've seen Bitcoin take a bit of a tumble recently, and we've seen Ethereum tumble much harder against Bitcoin. And because of that, we do tend to see Ethereum moving much quicker when Bitcoin moves, whether that be up or down, making it obviously a bit more of a volatile asset. But bearing in mind at the moment, we can see Bitcoin being a bit lower, potentially looking to pump back towards the upside. Investors are looking to Ethereum because it's potentially got better gain potential this year when compared with Bitcoin, which already has a market cap towards $1 trillion, with Ethereum being obviously a much smaller comparison. Bitcoin's drop on Tuesday would be considered a huge drop for other assets that aren't as volatile, but roughly $36,000 a coin is still well above its year low of around $29,000 back in January. It goes on to refer to a various number of people talking about selling Bitcoin and buying Ethereum. These are sort of retail traders. And this engineer from Montreal is saying the recent dip is an opportunity to buy a few $100s worth of Bitcoin, adding to roughly 40% of his portfolio. And typically in the past, many people were just buying Bitcoin initially, whereas actually now that Ethereum is getting much more coverage and people who are new to cryptocurrency have actually much more exposure to things like Ethereum. Okay, saying that Ethereum has recently piqued his interest, and obviously, you know, this is obviously just one person, but it does tend to be representative of a lot of different people. We've also got companies like Bloomberg Wealth talking about assets like Ethereum. Ethereum does seem to be great because it's a platform you'd be able to use to build other decentralized applications on, and Ether is required to build those applications, he said. I can see society over the next 3 or 4 years starting to become more open to the concept. And it's things like this which I think are having a bit of an impact on the behavior of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. And as we come over to this Bloomberg article, a shift has happened today in the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. So what you might have noticed today is we've actually seen Ethereum take a drop while Bitcoin has gone up. And that usually doesn't really happen. Okay, often if we see Bitcoin take a gain, go up really hard, say 10%, we'll see Ethereum going up as well, but perhaps not quite as hard, perhaps around 6-7%. And if Ethereum goes up really hard, we do tend to see Bitcoin climbing a few percentages as well. What he's saying today is the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio pattern just changed, and it may be something to watch for the last few weeks. Ethereum has been looking like high beta Bitcoin. When Bitcoin went up, Ethereum went up more. When Bitcoin went down, Ethereum went down more. As we can see in this article, we've got Bitcoin coming up pretty hard, and in turn, Ethereum coming down pretty much from the same point, coming down against it. Okay, so this is quite rare. If we look through the past, we have these dips, and they both sort of follow each other fairly almost perfectly. You can see here pretty much traces the outline, and obviously you do have these kind of areas, but still it's reflected, whereas for the first time pretty much, we've seen it actually moving in a completely opposite direction. Maybe this is just a one-day blip, but maybe it's going to be something that's going to happen or have a potential impact on the future for both Ethereum and Bitcoin. We'll have a look at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart in a moment to see what's going on with that. So this is on the 4-hour Ethereum chart. Yesterday we had this break down to around the $2,300 level, but slowly we've been climbing back up. Now, a lot of people are probably feeling like, you know, yesterday it faked everyone out, and everyone is looking quite confident. And I've seen a lot of stuff on YouTube today talking about Ethereum, you know, having faked everyone out and is now going to move back towards the upside. But in my opinion, we still in this pattern, and this pattern is kind of playing out. We've come back up and we are still retesting. We did get back inside momentarily, coming up to around the $2,640 level. As you can see, we've bounced off the 100 moving average and we've come back down, retested the bottom of this counter channel, and now we're still struggling to get back inside of this pattern. And if we potentially continue to play out and hit along the bottom of this, then I can see us potentially taking a break further down to the downside towards our price targets that we talked about the other day, which would be down towards the sort of $1,700 level. In terms of what Ethereum needs to do to perhaps stabilize is to get back inside this pattern and put in a few 4-hour closes above this line. Then it would need to be pushing back up towards this sort of $2,800 level. What we do like to see when we have breakouts is a larger amount of volume. So when we are trading and we are looking to short markets or long markets, wherever it might be, when we do see breakouts happen, we need to pay attention to the volume, because otherwise we do often get faked out and then it will often come back and hit stop losses, etc. Now, whilst Ethereum is down a couple of percent today, Bitcoin is actually up a couple of percent as well. So there is actually a bit of a change going on, which we talked about earlier in that earlier news piece. Previously, we were tracking this symmetrical triangle pattern here, and then we did have this big breakdown, but came down to this level here. As you can see, we found a good amount of support pushing us all the way back up from around the $30,000 level all the way up towards 37, 38,000. But as we know, if we zoom out further, this area of resistance that we're currently battling to get through in the past provided significant amounts of resistance here, 1, 2, 3 times, 4 times, 5, 6 times, and then as we come back down, we found it as support and has then become resistance again. So there's still a lot of resistance for the bulls to get through, and at the moment I'm not looking necessarily particularly bullish until we see potentially a breakout. Now, other people haven't really been talking about this descending wedge, and in a bear market, which we have been because we've been coming down, this is something that looks a bit more alarming in my opinion. What basically is happening here is every time the price drops, we get buyers coming into the market, and then every time we get up here, there's less and less buying pressure. Okay, so that means we tend to put in lower highs each time, and every time we're putting in these lower highs, the price is getting squeezed down, but still finding its support at the same level. This does tend to mean that when we're in a bear market, this is more of a continuation pattern. And although we did sort of wick just above that slightly earlier on today, as you can see, we failed to get back above this line. We also have failed to get back into the symmetrical triangle. So we're going to pay attention to the volume, what's going on here. On the RSI, again, we're approaching kind of like overbought levels. It wouldn't surprise me if we were to take a drop back down towards the levels of around 31,000. And if we were to do that, I think Ethereum would also take a bit of a drop too. That doesn't mean that necessarily it's going to drop all the way out the bottom of here, because again, you know, in the past we've seen buying pressure here, but every time we see buying pressure coming in at the same level, it does tend to mean that there's less buying pressure the next time. Okay, so potentially we'll come back down, we could come back up before potentially seeing a breakout, but at the moment I'm not sure that we're going to necessarily see a breakout. If we are to see a breakout, we need some higher volume pushing it up, and it will be interesting to see what goes on, because as we know, we may see a break slightly higher but be rejected and come back into this pattern. So while there's still a lot of FUD in the market, there's also still a lot of fake hype as well, which I think is something to be very careful about. And in terms of sitting on the sidelines at the moment, probably not necessarily the worst decision. If you are holding, then potentially, you know, there's an opportunity that you may be able to load up with more if you are to see a dip. And obviously the reason I'm showing you Bitcoin is because Ethereum is very closely linked to Bitcoin. Now, what we've been seeing on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart is actually very interesting for today. We've been moving up in this kind of ascending wedge pattern, which does tend to be a bearish pattern. And as you can see, we did break below that today, and we have suddenly fallen all the way down to around 6.7%, whereas slightly earlier on yesterday, we were up at around 7.7%. Now, this does look like we are potentially forming a bigger pattern here. Potentially something like a symmetrical triangle could be being made. And again, we are breaking to the downside, but if we were to take down, then it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. We've got Bitcoin sitting at the top of a pattern, looking like it potentially could break to the upside, and Ethereum looking to break back into a pattern. So it's very interesting to see. As we can see at the moment on this chart, we are very heavily oversold on the RSI, so it wouldn't surprise me if we see Ethereum taking a bit of a move up, and perhaps Bitcoin having a bit of sideways motion. And because the volume has been decreasing quite a lot in terms of Bitcoin and Ethereum, it does mean that actually suddenly we could see a resurgence of activity, and we could see suddenly price moves happening very quickly. So be very careful if you're going to trade at the moment. Obviously being happy with the decisions you're making off the research you're doing, rather than just relying on being told what to do by one person or another. Guys, if you're already holding cryptocurrency and you're looking to make the most of when the bounce comes and we move back in towards a bull market, then I recommend heading over to BlockFi.com. I'll leave a link in the description. And if you head over to BlockFi today, you can get up to $250 in deposit bonus, which is really good. You can also earn up to 8.6% APY, which is super high. If you're already going to hold crypto, you might as well be earning interest on it, because it's a great way to increase your holding by earning a passive income. You can buy things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, US dollar Tether, as well as move them in there and hold them from other accounts really easily. The trading fees between different cryptos is super low, and you do get one free withdrawal each month, which does make it a really good platform in my opinion. Been around for a while and it's backed by some of the biggest names in crypto, so it's a no-brainer in my opinion. If you're going to hold crypto, you may as well be making a passive income from it. Then you can go down below and click the link if you're interested in signing up. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's quick update on Ethereum and Bitcoin. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to be kept up to date with all the latest happening in the cryptocurrency markets, and I will see you again tomorrow with another video. Bye-bye.